Hey everybody, welcome to this two-part series. I'm gonna do these two videos back to back on how to have a really successful product launch. Today's video is going to be about how to utilize free traffic that is working right now to build an audience and to set yourself up to have a really successful launch. So in this video, we're gonna talk about some of the things that are working right now in order to get exposure and to build followers and to get ready to plant the seeds so that whatever you wanna sell or whatever business you wanna grow has a chance of getting in front of the right people and having a successful launch. And I just want you to know that we have several students inside of our membership who are using this right now to have 5-figure launches. There's one, Mark Cuda, who just sold $25,000 in product in a really competitive space that a lot of people would say, you can't go into that space. You have no background, no audience, no nothing. We did $25,000 in 7 days by doing what we'll talk about in this video series. And we have one other student, Damien, who's been featured here on the YouTube channel, who sold 2,000 units in a really competitive market with no previous audience. And he just started doing something consistently for about 30 days and he sold 2,000 units. So that's what we'll talk about in this video. In the follow-up video, we'll talk about how to have the profitable product launch, how to actually pull the lever so that you're taking sales from day one without having this long lead up process of waiting, like, is my product gonna sell or what? So that's what we'll talk about in this two-part series. So I want to share a few things with you that are working right now, both internally and for our students, because the puck is always moving, right? A week ago, it was to build a Facebook page and build a following there. Or over here, it was to start a podcast or to document your journey on YouTube. And that puck is always moving. So what's working right now in order to have free traffic and free exposure? And I want to share with you something that a mentor of mine told me years and years ago, where he talked about what he called traffic brokering. And he said, no matter what is happening in any space, what's happening on social media, what's happening with all the marketing people who are telling you to do this or this, he said there will always be free traffic by brokering traffic. Now, what the heck does brokering traffic mean? Brokering traffic means going to places or people that already control the traffic and getting in front of that. And he called it being the toll position, being the in-between between what this person who has traffic and this person who has traffic. And that always stuck with me. It always stuck with me of that there is traffic all around the place, that there's attention all over the place. And we don't need more traffic. We just need to step in front of the traffic that is already flowing all over the place. So we could take this time to talk about promoting yourself on TikTok or building an audience on Instagram, but that's not how we're going to structure this. What I want to focus on in this video is how to utilize free traffic sources to be able to put you in a position so you can take a sale on day one. We'll cover the actual taking a sale part in the next video. But today I want to talk about building that launch list, building that group of people that actually want to buy from you on day one. Especially when you're selling physical products, there is this time in between you making the decision to start a business and the product being ready to ship. And it's like 8 weeks, and it's the longest 8 weeks of your life. And what your responsibility is during that time is to ensure that once you're ready, you can take a sale immediately. There are things that are working right now that are very effective at building that launch list. And the thing that I like to look at when I am consulting with a brand on how to stack the deck here is to look at where there's already traffic and attention so that you can just put yourself into that conversation. Now, I wanna give you the biggest tip up front, because if I had a magic wand for you to do anything, just one thing, I would tell you to spend your time connecting with medium and micro influencers and offering them some sort of option to be part of the business. For example, one of our clients inside of the capitalism.com fund, where we actually put capital into businesses, had a great idea for a food line that they wanted to launch. And I happen to know an influencer with about 1 million followers that was a perfect fit for this audience. So we brokered a deal with them to where that influencer got 5 points of equity in the company in exchange for promoting that brand long term. Now the entrepreneur doesn't need to have a 100,000 person audience in order to take a sale from day one. They've brokered a deal with somebody who already has that attention. My favorite people to partner with are bloggers and people with large email lists. They're not the people that have huge TikTok followings or Instagram followings. They're the people who have really engaged audiences from blogging, YouTube, and email lists. Those are the really deep audiences that I like to look for when I'm trying to make a connection. It is not enough just to have attention. We have to have it in a place that we control it, something that I call the hopper. The hopper is a place where we can immediately show up in front of our audience and we can nurture them. This is a Facebook group. This is an email list. It's a Discord channel. It's someplace where we are building a relationship. By the way, YouTube and podcast is my hopper. I show up on here on YouTube and on my podcast to deliver value for my audience because this is where I nurture people for a very long time before I ask for anything. I do my selling on my email list and I do my traffic getting on ads and social media. Those 3 places are important to have in order to build the audience to be ready to take the sale. Traffic, hopper, and then a place to ask for the sale. And you can crack that nut in a variety of different ways. If I could give you just one, it would be to partner with an influencer and then build an email list. And that will be enough to set you up for a really successful launch. Now we're moving kind of fast here in this video. So let's identify a few of the things that you need to know in order to put yourself in a position to have a really successful launch. You need to have a place for exposure and you need to have a place where you can engage with your following. If I could give you one thing to do, I would have you partner with influencers to be able to spread the word. If you are not going to do that, then I would recommend that you borrow a page from our playbook from some of our successful students, and that is simply to document the growth of your brand on whatever social media platform you are most likely to post consistently. Damian Law, who is one of our existing students inside of capitalism.com, started documenting the growth of his brand to sell late night snacking cookies. And as a result, built a launch list of 8,000 people who are ready and waiting to buy from him on launch day. He sold 600 units within 24 hours. He wasn't talking about why his cookies were amazing. He was simply documenting the growth of the business on TikTok. So that was his traffic strategy. And his engagement strategy, the hopper, was to send the traffic from TikTok to an email list. And that was how he built that multi-thousand person launch list. And they were ready to buy from him on launch day. And he's now working, at the time of this video, he's now working on his Amazon presence. He'll have a 10,000 person waiting list when he sends them to Amazon, which means that he'll be able to get reviews, testimonials, conversion rate, which is gonna make it easier for him to rank on Amazon and get that product to 50 or 100 sales a day. That's the foundation of a 7-figure business. So are you seeing how all of this is coming together? Most people skip this step of utilizing free traffic to build that launch list of people that makes it easier for them to take sales on day one. But when they do this, when you as a new entrepreneur are coming in and saying, all right, I'm gonna stack the deck here, it makes it easier for you to have momentum as soon as you are ready to take sales. And when you can do that, it makes it easier and faster for you to get that feedback from people that you need in order to rank on whatever channel that you are trying to rank on, whether that's Kickstarter or it is, for most of you, Amazon.com. It's my opinion that this is the most important part of a business process because it determines how fast you get moving, how fast you get to that magical 25 sales a day. And that matters because it takes just 4 products at 25 sales a day at a $30 price point to have a 7-figure business. Imagine if you could just come out of the gate at 25 sales a day. Most people don't because they're not doing this part of the process. And people skip this part of the process because no one's listening at first. But they start listening when you start speaking to them and you start listening to them in return. Any of the case studies that I talked about in this video, plus all of the results that we're getting inside of the 1%, every single one of them can tell you that no one was listening at first, but they started documenting the process and they started inserting themselves into the conversation and giving to that audience. I don't think most entrepreneurs know that they are one person away from everything that they've ever wanted. They're one connection away from all of the money and the exposure and the success that they want, but they're not speaking to that person. They're not putting themselves in a position to meet that person. It's like the person who wants to meet a mate. They want to start dating, and there's all these single people all around them, and they won't talk to any of them. They won't even say like, hey, I'm looking for somebody. There's all these people who want to date, but they're not inserting themselves into the conversation because they believe they don't have something to value, or because they are under the impression that there's just nobody out there for me. The same is true in business. There are so many people who match your ideal customer. There are so many people who want to invest in brands. There are so many influencers who have hundreds of thousands or millions of followers that are looking for good businesses to promote. And entrepreneurs are not putting themselves in the position to make those connections because they are not documenting the process, because they are not building a community of people who want to buy their stuff. Those are the pieces that you need to focus on in the early stages of business to have that free traffic that is ready to buy from you on launch day. So this is what we focus on inside of our trainings, inside of the 1%. Yes, it's choosing a great product. Yes, it's building an audience. And yes, it's having a really profitable launch. But it's the piece of building the audience that makes the profitable launch possible. And when you lay this foundation, you have a much easier time having that liftoff that takes you to that $1 million run rate very quickly. So if you want some help, we have trainings inside of our members area. We're doing one right now that is all about building profitable product launches and being able to crank that lever so that you come out of the gate with sales. Now, in the next video, we'll talk about that process specifically, how you do it in a cool and ethical way that doesn't burn your list and doesn't burn you out and still allows you to have a $10,000 plus launch. So subscribe to the channel so that you see that next video, and I appreciate you watching. I'm Ryan Daniel Moran with Capitalism.com. I help entrepreneurs build 7-figure businesses, and I believe that this is the most important step to making that process easy and fun. All right, I'll see you in the next video. Take care.